You just turned 16, GCSE exams are coming up, and the future stretches for miles in front of you. You've been told these are the best years of your life, but between the high school crushes, revision crunch and social anxiety, you're not so sure. Still, you have all the time in the world. Real life is ages away. You're still stuck in the tutorial level, might as well make the most of it. You make big plans with friends you know have either the means or the capability to actually achieve them, because they've got their lives together. But you're unsure of your own capacity for greatness. Is it that C you got on your marks? Or is it that fact that all your friends got A stars? Either way, you want to catch up. And if you can't, at least you can give the illusion that you're of equal measure. One thing though, your rich friend's parents just bought him a sweet Aprilia RS50, and your other friends saved enough cash from their retail job to just about afford the shittiest looking moped you've ever seen. And yet, you envy them. Why? Experience. That's why. You know that they'll have a whole extra year to hone their craft, and will share experiences you'll miss out on. So, you motivate yourself, and take the dodgiest job at the dodgiest takeaway, and try and catch up. After a whole year grinding it out on buses and a rusty old bicycle, you saved barely enough for a bike, insurance and a helmet. Then you realize all your mates are getting sport bikes for their A1 license, the only sport bike in the 125 class, the infamous Aprilia RS125. Great, you think. Now I'm never gonna get on their level. That's an A2 bike in disguise. Defeated, you take the long walk to your local Honda dealership to buy a forgettable throwaway CBF that'll at least get you to work reliably. But that's when you see it, right in the front of the showroom, the tiny CBR 125. That's it, you say to the dealer, that's the one. The 2004 CBR 125R was a replacement to the NSR 125, which itself was a direct competitor to the Aprilia. However, the slower CBR was never going to compete. As a 4-stroke, it had no power, and great sacrifices had to be made to keep the weight down. Instead, Honda opted to compete on looks, reliability, and price. And oh boy, was this built to a price. The whole bike appears to literally just be a chopped down CBF with its cheap suspension, bicycle tires and tacky plastics all around. There isn't even a kill switch on European models. Don't for 1 second, however, think that this is not a fast 125. The front and rear disc brakes give modern ABS 125s a run for their money. The liquid cooled engine remains competitive to this day, and the gearbox is a bulletproof dirt bike unit. All of this propels the bike up to speeds of 70 to 89 miles per hour, depending on the rider, and if you upgrade the bicycle tires, it corners like a wasp due to its light frame. There was even a racing series featuring these, which leaves me wondering, why didn't they call it a 125RR? The performance was actually good enough for Honda to sell them in North America, competing against the comparatively obese Ninja 250. Not that they won that fight, but they participated nonetheless. My example was a 2005 Cat D write-off that had been in a major collision, lovingly restored by its original owner, only to be mercilessly tortured daily into the ground by the next two owners, and all the way up to 30,000 miles, with no oil change.
What? What the fuck?
After knowing all this, a sane individual runs screaming, but hear me out. 2018 was the peak of moped crime in London, and I had no locks and no chain. Despite this, insurance was only 700 quid in Zone 3 London. That's an absolute bargain when you consider that it cost about the same for an ancient YBR and 100 quid less than a CBF. I had also just barely passed my CBT after dropping the bike several times due to the road test, and I was seriously considering just getting a shitty moped until my good friend David convinced me to just get a ratty old manual bike to practice on first. An end-of-life CBR was the ideal candidate. It had enough juice to reach 70, but the absolute state of the bike would deter would-be thieves. I mean, would you steal a shiny moped or a rusty half-fairing CBR with a couple of drops of oil beneath it? The bike actually lasted much longer than I needed it for, because everything clicked within a couple of rides for me, and the bike went on to take me on regular 60-mile-per-hour commutes to work on the other side of London, and my hospital appointments several miles outside of London through winding country roads. The carburetor made it almost feel like a 2-stroke with more torque. At the bottom of the rev range it had V-twin-like pull, but the mid-range was gutless, and that's until the big jet kicked in, and then you're propelled forward with a wave of power all the way up until the rev limit. I was about to consider replacing the bold plastic Chinese tires for actual rubber ones, until the carburetor gave up on me one day. After fixing it, the bike was never really the same. It started giving me more and more problems until one day I was all the way in Twickenham on a boiling hot afternoon when it gave up for good. That was the final nail in the coffin for me, and I half-heartedly took it apart to clean the tank because I thought rust was making its way into the carburetor. I left the tank out to dry under cover and thought that after I had recovered from my upcoming jaw surgery, I could motivate myself to fix it. When I finally got back home, however, my tank was gone and I was forced to sell the rest of my bike for only 200 quid. On the bright side, this meant that my first experience of getting back into riding after the surgery was on my much nicer Yamaha YZF R125. I guess it's poetic in a way. What I guess I should say to anyone considering an old CBR is to get the fuel injected ones, 2007 onwards. They're basically all you need in a motorbike. They're faster than the premium naked 125s, fast enough to take on motorways, and they can even take a luggage rack or a top box. They even have loads of usable space under the rear seat, so you can really go touring and motor camping with these. At the end of the day, it's where the bike takes you that matters, not a spec sheet.